Ugh, what happened to your face?
She is very gorgeous to me!
The first trailer for Clayface just dropped, and while I gotta admit it looks very promising, it's a really strange decision to make a Clayface movie the third entry in your DC universe, especially when you've yet to introduce Batman, and before you've introduced cornerstone characters like The Flash, Wonder Woman, etc.
Where are they?
But before I get into my thoughts, let's break down this trailer, and as usual, I had to splice it up a bit so that YouTube doesn't hit me.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
My eyes!
So let's break down Clayface's comics origin real quick. There have been several characters that have turned into Clayface, like Matt Hagen, Basil Karlo. Karlo was the original Clayface, and in the comics he was an actor who went insane after finding out that a movie that he was supposed to star in was gonna be made without him, so he wore a clay mask to kill the cast and crew. Matt Hagen was a treasure hunter that stumbled upon a subterranean pool of chemicals which eventually turned him into a clay monster. When Batman the Animated Series came out, it essentially combined these two origins and created the one that is most used today. The episode that contained Clayface's origin focused on Matt Hagen again, but this time he was an actor who had been in an accident, and his face was basically cooked. He was approached by Roland Daggett, who was the head of a pharmaceutical company, and presented him a compound called Renew You. Huh, get it? Renew You?
Can you shut the fuck up?
Anyways, the substance was super addicting and it needed to be reapplied pretty often in order to maintain the appearance that his face was totally healed. A side effect of the compound was that it allowed him to shift his face into different people. So Daggett basically blackmailed him into committing crimes by impersonating other people in exchange for more of the Renew You compound. Eventually, Hagen used his shape-shifting powers to sneak into the lab where they made the compound, but after he was caught by Daggett's henchmen, they poured an entire vat of Renew You onto Hagen's face in an effort to kill him. The ensuing chemical reaction altered Hagen's appearance and DNA on a molecular level and essentially created the Clayface that we know today. It is this origin that has been used going forward after the animated series, and it appears that they're going to use this origin in the movie as well. Damn, bro, this is some pretty horrifying looking shit. Got my boy looking like Gloppy from Candyland.
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you.
Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe. Now back to the video. Also, this has gotta be a Joker reference, right? There's a good look at the Renew You right there, and I'm assuming this is before he actually puts it in his face. It's the first time that he's seeing it, but that's just my guess. And here's a pretty good look at his eye starting to melt. I'm assuming this is the first time his lady's gonna see him morph into Clayface, and she clearly is freaked out. And here's our first look at Gotham City in the new DCU. I think a lot of viewers are gonna be questioning, where the hell's Batman?
Where are you?
Here.
Allah Akbar!
They absolutely nailed the horror thriller vibe that they're going for, and this movie has a ton of potential if it delivers on the tone that they're showing in this trailer. I mean, I'm really looking forward to what they can pull off here. This looks like a confrontation with one of Roland Daggett's men. I'm assuming this is when he breaks into the lab to get more Renew You, because if he was full on Clayface already, he likely would have turned his hand into a mallet and smashed him into a pancake. Or maybe he does have powers here and he's currently shoving his finger all the way down his throat into his stomach or something as a form of torture to get information. And just how I alluded to, there he is transforming his hand into a weapon. All these clips make me feel like I'm watching a serial killer flick rather than a Batman villain origin, but I really think it can work.
I ain't gonna lie, you scare the shit out of me.
Watching an actor's descent into madness and transformation into a monster is prime material for a psychological horror movie, but as I said before, why exactly is this the third film in your cinematic universe, James Gunn?
I don't know.
Now granted, we have seen a movie like this succeed before in 2019's Joker. I still love that film, and as long as you don't think about the afterbirth monstrosity that was Folie à Deux, It's a fantastic standalone entry. At no point did I feel like it was missing Batman. However, this was because it was an Elseworld story of how the Joker could have originated, and although it was not a faithful adaptation of the Killing Joke and took a lot of liberties from the comics, its fantastic writing, characterization, and thematic messaging overcame these pitfalls that sully a lot of adaptations. And as its own thing, it was great. But for Clayface, this film is directly connected to the new DC universe. It's the same universe as Superman and Supergirl and everything else to follow. James Gunn's Superman made it clear that metahumans have existed in this universe for 300 years. And if Superman is already several years into his crime-fighting career, then where the hell is Batman? There has to be some type of explanation as to why he's not going to appear in this movie. Will we at least get references to him? Are we gonna see other villains like Joker, Catwoman, or others? Will we at least get references to their existence? Even if you set the Clayface movie before Superman, like I said, metahumans have been around for hundreds of years in this universe, so you're gonna have to address the world building in some form. Batman and the cinematic universe implications are going to be huge elephants in the room for this movie, and it's going to be confusing for general audiences who will likely have trouble telling if this is connected to the DCU, the Batman universe, or if it's its own thing. Plus, unlike Joker, Catwoman, Bane, or the Penguin, Clayface is not a household name, and while nerds like myself know him, I don't think general audiences are going to easily associate this film with Batman or DC.
I don't even know who you are.
For myself, the ultimate goal is quality, and even if the film isn't very marketable, it won't matter to comic fans if the movie delivers something great. But this film really might make or break James Gunn's future with DC Studios. Superman was not the massive hit that Warner Brothers had hoped, and there's a question if it even made money. There's a reason its theatrical window was only 45 days, and then it went straight to HBO Max. And with this shaky start to the DCU and Warner Brothers' imminent sale to Paramount, James Gunn's future as the head of DC Studios is totally up in the air. If I was him, I wouldn't have risked the success of my universe and my job on a B-list Batman villain before I even came close to assembling the Justice League. Not a great choice there, buddy.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, Joker did make over $1 billion, so there is a precedent to a spin-off Batman movie doing gangbusters. But with Superman failing to come even close to hitting $700 million at the box office, and the hype for Supergirl online being tepid at best, I just don't see this film performing like it needs to in order to justify the DCU continuing. As the saying goes, once is by chance, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. And if all 3 of these films to start the DCU are gonna be kind of duds, then I don't think this universe is gonna be around much longer.
See you, chump.
It's wild to think about it, but the future of the DCU kinda rides on the success of this film. Let's hope it lives up to expectations instead of melting under the pressure. Thank you so much for sticking with the video this long. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. My goal is to hit 5K subs, and any help to get there is greatly appreciated. I'll see you all in the next one.